If you're a dad in 2025, you know how weird things are getting. It kind of feels like science fiction and the supernatural and what we think is real is all kind of swirling around in one big pot, and it's hard to tell the difference from what we thought was real and what's becoming real. And it just kind of makes you want to take a nap, honestly. But there's a simple framework for viewing life I've learned over the last couple of years that makes things so much easier, and that will make navigating basically any challenge in life, be it involved with fatherhood, your relationship with your spouse, your job, just life in general. And it's that life operates on a particular conveyor belt of sorts. And this is the acronym CTFAR, or CTFAR. And this is a modality for viewing life that stems from cognitive behavioral therapy, which articulates the relationship between the world around us, or the circumstances in our lives, how we think about them, how that influences our feelings, our subsequent actions, and our results. So, C for circumstances. That's anything going on in your life. Write it down on paper. It's the words that were said, not necessarily what you think the other person meant by it. It is times, it is places, it is actual events that occurred. Those are the circumstances. It's the money in your bank. It's the color of your hair. It's when you were married, how long you were married, who you're married to, who your kids are. Those are all facts. And then there's the thoughts. And a thought is a sentence in your mind. A sentence or a story that you assign to those circumstances. And our thoughts are optional, believe it or not. Sometimes we're under the impression, quite often we're under the impression, that if we are thinking about something in a certain way, that is the correct and only option we have as to how to think about that. A flat tire, for example. We may think that there is one possible way for us to think and feel about that situation. But there's actually so many ways to think about that. And our thoughts produce vibrations in our body, which are emotions. They carry a specific flavor with them. And it's really quite fascinating. You play around with this, kind of try this on, and notice. For example, when you're watching a movie, you're going to feel a certain way depending on how you think about what you're seeing. And there's music and so forth that's in the film to lead you on a certain emotional journey. That's why you're watching the movie, to have a type of experience. And in life, this is all happening too, with our jobs, with our fatherhood role. We're thinking about the things that are happening around us, the actions of others, the words of others, etc. And that produces a feeling in us. For example, my kid didn't come home on time for their curfew, and they should have. And I am being disrespected, for example. I'm sure that never happens, but if it did, you might have a thought about that and a subsequent feeling. But there are other ways to think about it and really take the time to experiment with that. Our feelings drive our actions. This is very key. Our feelings drive our actions. They carry a certain energy into that action. And then the actions that we engage in, so the words we say, etc., things we do, decisions we make, they carry that certain energy. So results come from that, which are then essentially circumstances that we get to have a thought about. So CTFAR, this is the conveyor of our lives. Everything that we have experienced has been processed through this conveyor belt of our experience. And so as we navigate the strangeness of 2025, and it's only half over, we have a lot more control over what this is like for us than we may think. And paying attention to how we're thinking about it is so key. If we change our thoughts, we will change our world. And that's it for now.